Okay, so challenge of the day. I've got a porthole problem. I'll show you just quickly. Down there, you'll notice there's a porthole, but there is no glass in that. It fell out years ago and broke. And it's really difficult down here in this neck of the woods to find a glazier. Now, the bathroom portholes, as you know, I took them off. Well, Graham and I took them out completely, the rims and everything, and I've rebuilt them, and they've got new Perspex ones on. But for this kitchen one, it's a bit more complicated because with the bathroom ones, we took the whole skin out that actually is in the hole. And it took hours and bashing it. It took two of us, really. And also there's water the other side, whereas the bathroom windows, there's a pontoon. Now, I've got an idea. It's the glass is missing from the swingy bit. So from one of the bathroom windows, which were also broken, I've got this swingy bit, which has a piece of glass. You might say to yourself, why not take this piece of glass out and put it in that? Well, there's a problem because there's a gazillion little screws, and I started to take them out and some of them are just seized. They're just no fucking chance. We tried everything. We actually spent more money on tools trying to get it out. So I just gave up on it. It's been hanging around. So I would like to use this to replace that swingy thing. But there's a problem with this. What happens is a bolt goes through the top two loops, and that's how it, you know, swings. Well, on this side, you can see the problem, can't you? So I'm going to repair that with fiberglass, with resin. And that's what this video is all about. And we shall find out together if it works or not. I think it will work. I've been thinking about this problem for years, what to do about that porthole. And it doesn't bother me most of the year. It's a nice bit of ventilation. But in the winter, when the wind is coming from over there, it just whistles right up the boat. So this winter, I'd quite like it not to do that. And as I've got, you know, I'm working on the boat and we've got stuff to do, and I've had an idea. So let's play experiment. Right, so what I've done, obviously this is the good side. You can see there's two full loops. I've got this side just propped up, so they're a little bit off the bottom, and I'm going to fill that. It's just an aerosol lid that I've cut down, and it's more or less, you know, it'll give us plenty of resin to play with and work with, I hope. I think so. I mean, looking at that, they're quite away from the bottom. You see, it's only what's happened is it's corroded. I might prop it up just a little bit more. I don't know. I want plenty. Well, we'll find out. I'm going to pour some resin into that. So it will come right up. It'll cover the legs. Then once it's gone hard, I'll cut it down with a jig and drill a hole right through the middle. That's the theory. Right, so I've filled it with resin that I've mixed up in this little Tupperware box, and I've put a hell of a lot of catalyst in. It's been about 5 minutes. And you can see this resin is still quite runny, but it is beginning to go off. So I'm watching this as a test. It's the same stuff they make false nails with, actually. This type of product is used in, well, just about everything you use in your everyday life. You'd be surprised how much you've got in your life which is made with fiberglass. Yeah, it still hasn't gone off. So that'll be an hour or two, I reckon, to really set. And I want it set hard. I'm quite fascinated to see how this is going to work out. So we have some success. It's still a little bit warm, but basically we've got a block on one side. See that? And we've got two good loops. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see two good loops there. So I'm going to leave it overnight, and I've cleaned the glass, which is a bit loose. I've got to put some, oh, I can't remember what you call it. It's like sticky excluder, draft excluder type stuff. So what I've got to do then is, I better not break the fucking glass in this one. I'll jigsaw it along there, and I'll jigsaw the top off, and I'll jigsaw this way as well into it. So it's basically left with a block of resin, and then I'll find a drill bit that's just the right size of those two, and I'll drill a hole through the block, and then I'll cut the middle piece out so it's 2 legs instead of one solid one, because I think there's another bit on the flange that goes in the middle. Obviously there must be, because the bolt goes through that, otherwise there'd be no point, would there, Fiona? So we'll end up with 2 square legs, and obviously they're going to be a bit longer than this. I'll have to, oh, I don't know, it's pretty good. It's actually pretty good height. Oh, I think we'll be all right, because it was only just the tips. Well, hopefully I won't have to add a bit more on the bottom, but I mean, if I do, I do. And then I'll sand it so that they're rounded. So we'll see how we go. So if you have something at home that's you're just thinking, oh, blooming heck, it's just a little bit I need fixing. This is one way of, this is one solution. It's one way of fixing it, but it's still slightly warm to the touch, and there's quite a lot of bubbles in there because there was clearly quite a dangerous chemical reaction going off. So I'll continue this video tomorrow. But it's really solid, actually. I mean, that ain't going nowhere. That's stuck on there. It's pretty good stuff. And then the little legs were a bit rough, so that gives it something to cling into. You know, it will have gone into every nook and cranny. We'll see how that turns out. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we're up to now. So we had the circle on it. I have cut off. Ooh, sorry about that. I've cut off one side of it. Actually, I think it came off this side. I cut that bit off, and I cut. Oops! Oh, bloody thing! So difficult with only 2 hands. And I've cut that side off, and I've already cut off one end there, but I've got more cuts to do. I've got 3 more cuts to do, and then hopefully you'll get the general idea of the direction in which we're going. Okay guys, so now I have cut the block so that we now have 2 blocks on there, and 2 roundy things on that one. So obviously I've got to drill a hole through the middle, and I've got to round the edges off, and I'll use a sander to do that and get them into a really nice shape. I've got a feeling this is going to work, people. I think this is going to work. Do you think this is going to work, Benjamin?
Probably, yeah.
Don't you think I'm a genius?
I think you've done it in a very... You're trying to go this way and you've gone this way.
And how would you have done it?
I'd have used a much smaller vessel, first off.
Well, and where would you have found that vessel? I mean, what...
Or...
Have you got any idea how fiddly it is to...
Or, alternatively, I would have used JB weld, let it tack off and drill the holes.
I actually thought of JB weld, but I don't think I've got not as much confidence in that type of stuff as I have.
It's strong stuff.
Not as strong as fiberglass, I'll wager.
Well, probably not. No, that's why they build boats out of fiberglass and not JB weld.
Do you know, everyone takes the piss out... Well, trolls take the piss out of me about the fact that boats are made of fiberglass.
Every boat's made of fiberglass.
I know, but they go, oh, look, Fifi's playing with resin, fiberglass. Like it's a fucking joke. It's an industrial product like concrete. Like something that humanity couldn't live without.
They get the mould in the factory and then they just layer fiberglass matting over it and keep doing layers and layers and layers of it. They put some beams in there, they do more layers of fiberglass over that. That's how you make a hull of a boat. That's most boats out there, unless it's made of wood or metal, which in that case is different.
Did you know you can have concrete hulls?
You can, yeah, they do exist, but they're not as good.
I don't know, there was one in the boatyard next to us in Brighton. Yeah, there's issues with them.
You have to. I've never been on a comfortable.
It makes me
because-
wonder how some people get out of bed and, you know, do they have to tell themselves to breathe? Time to eat, you know. Anyway, on with my experiment.
Yes.
Okay, I've washed it down, so hopefully you can see now the lugs in there, entombed in the resin. So you can, let me focus it. What am I doing? So you can see that's the theory, that I'll be drilling another hole through that and rounding the edges off. Right, so days later, I basically bought some rad weld, and I've not only glued and entombed the one that broke in half while I was drilling it, but I've entombed this inner one as well, because it's really, really strong stuff, and that should hold it together. And then once I need that to go off, so I've got it on the back deck to bake. I've also put some of this tape on the inside. You can see a little bit sticking out there, but I've pushed that so that the the glass now is not rattling. That's nice and secure. And then what I'll do, so if you look at what we're trying to achieve, is this end. I will sand flat along the top to get that nice and level, and then round the edge, because it's got to be rounded so it can turn. The bottom side is already quite flush, so I just need to round the corners there and then drill a new hole through the middle. So we end up with a very, very similar thing going on both sides. And I already had a look at the one that I've got to take off. So there's a little bit of a hole there still. Yeah, I've had a look at the one I've got to take off and to replace this one with. And it's a couple of bolts, and I think I can do it. I think we're going to be there. But once I've done those holes, I'll put some window tint on this before it goes up, and then it will look nice and neat, and I will have no more draft coming up through the kitchen. And this has been going on now. It's been about a week since I last did a video update on this, so I'll edit it all together. Basically, you know, there were other jobs on the boat in the bedroom that I had to get on with, and I'm sort of, again, all upside down and back to front. And this job was held up because I didn't have any rad weld. I had to order some JB and wait a couple of days for that to arrive. And while I was waiting, I got stuck into other jobs, and that's just how life goes. So I'm quite confident this is going to work. I mean, it's not a window I'm going to open and shut all the time. It's basically a window that's going to be shut during the winter and open in the summer. That's really its job, and it just stops the draft. We had a mate staying on the boat, and he put, I don't know, he put cling film or something over the old one, and that all tore to shreds in a second with the winter wind. Whereas this one, this will sit nice and heavy, and this end, of course, is good. These are where the bolt goes up, and then there's like a twisty thing to secure it. So they're in good condition. I don't know what this little thing here at the bottom is for. Maybe a tie down, or maybe to tie up. Maybe when you want them open. There would have been a hook on the ceiling, and there'd have been I don't know, something like that. So that might come in handy when I want it open in the summer. I was going to prop it open with a pencil. I've only just noticed that they have that. And they're very specific size, these portholes. You can buy replacements. These were obviously either custom in their day, or they used to make them this size, but the more modern ones are not as long. So I haven't been able to source any new portholes that fit the actual, the hole, you know, the skin fitting. So yeah, we continue with this job. So there we go. It's not perfect, but I think that will work. I've painted it black and touched up the rest of it, and then I'll clean it up, put some window tint on it, and probably fit it to the window over the weekend. But I won't bother showing you guys that. Well, I might. We've come this far, haven't we? It's not too bad, and I think the main thing is that the holes line up. it would have been probably better if I'd had a deeper like lid that I set the resin in the first place, so that they would have come out a bit further. But I mean, honest to God, it's better than nothing. At least it will hang now in situ, and hopefully. Okay, so I forgot that this one comes out quite easily, which is quite handy, because these are the bolts that I've got to take off the top, and this is the swingy bit, and you can see there why the glass fell out. In fact, there may not even have been glass in it when we got the boat, I can't remember. So I've got to clean all of this up nice before this goes on it. Okay, so the experiment didn't work, but it did work in a way. I'll show you, hang on. So while I was trying to put the bloody bolts through, because there's two of them, and where it was moving, both of those damn lugs broke. Never mind, it was worth a try. But the good news is, having managed to get the entire sleeve out, which is this, I actually managed to get the whole thing out, which is going to be painted white while it's out. I've just given it a wash down. I'll show you what I've done. So the old one's going, the old flapper's going to the bin. So I've got that bolt securing it on the top, and I've got one, which one is that one? One good side working and the other side didn't work, but it's going nowhere, and there will be no draft, and that's all I care about for now. There's somebody else's problem another day, you know. I'm only willing to waste a week and a half on something as infinitesimal as a fucking hinge that really doesn't affect my life too much. And it's been a busy week, hasn't it, Kat? A very busy week. Doing lots of other things, which I'll come to in another video. That was another science experiment that could have gone horribly wrong. A bit like bomb disposal squad going on round here. But thank God, between me and Benji, we managed it. Oh, that is another story which I shall tell another day. In the meantime, right, I haven't looked up Markle today because, yeah, I'm busy. But I looked yesterday and I saw this thing, her and Harry and their kids, right, go to some sort of food dispensary place for people who need it, right? Now, my mate sent me a picture of it and said, oh, what do you mean? You know, look, there's Harry with her. Well, I'm going to put my 2 penneth in here. Absolute bullshit that that photograph was taken recently, in my opinion. And I will tell you why. See this coat? The sun is out, but it's bloody, well, for us, it's freezing here. A lot of my videos you've seen lately, I'm wearing a dressing gown, especially at night. But even in the day, when the sun is out, even when I'm walking and when I'm working hard, yes, sometimes you have to take your coat off if you're really exerting yourself. Now, I'm near Morocco, and the latitude between Spain, where I am, and where California is, there's not a lot in it. I remember Graham was always going on about it, saying, you know, our climate is very like California. And I checked the temperature yesterday, and yesterday in the middle of the day it was 16 degrees here, which to you guys might, some of you that live in colder climates, that might sound hot, but down here we are not built for it. We are not built for it because human beings acclimatise wherever you live. If you live in a very cold place, you get used to it. If you live in a very, very hot country, you get used to it. And it's the same every winter. The weather here is lovely. We have 300 days of sunshine a year, and most of the time it's boiling bloody hot. So you'll have noticed from my videos, normally I'm in either bikini tops, shorts. We're just dying, you know, we're dying of heat. So when the winter comes and it drops to 16, you know, I've got to wear a coat. But in the evenings here, it's lately been dropped. I think the other night it dropped to 6 degrees, which is really cold for us. I mean, we're really built for the heat. And I would imagine the same in California. So I checked the temperature yesterday and we were 16 degrees and California was 14 degrees. So 2 degrees colder. You don't see me wearing a t-shirt, a sleeveless t-shirt. The way they were dressed in that photograph, I can just tell to look at them, even with the baseball caps on, and the way Harry and Meghan and that little girl are dressed. They've come in to a chilled kitchen from a hot outside. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. I really don't believe that that photograph is recent. And I mean, I haven't looked into it deeply, so don't take my word for it. Perhaps there is evidence that it is recent, but I don't think it is. Just to look at it, that's my instinct. They live in a very, very similar temperature climate to here. Then if I were to go and film a load of members of the public walking up and down the street, yes, tourists wear shorts and a t-shirt, but the natives down here, they're all in long trousers, jumpers, thick jackets. I mean, Ben yesterday had a t-shirt on underneath his sweatshirt and then his bike jacket on top because it was so cold. For us, it's cold for us. Now, I understand some people who live, like for example in England, it's considerably colder in both the summer and the winter. So, but when you live here, when we first moved here, yes, the first couple of winters I think we did wear sort of skimpy clothes because we weren't used to it. But then once you've lived through a couple of very hot summers, and then it's such a shock to the system for those just a few degrees drop. Graham used to say he was only comfortable once the temperature had got back up to 21 degrees. And 21's quite nice, 21, 22. But I'm in the summer down here. I don't care what the statistics say on the internet. I can tell you for a fact, in July and August, 40, 39, 40 is not unheard of. That's the regular. It's like living in an oven, and I dare say it's the same in California. I mean, I can't imagine, because the planet revolves, you know, and like I say, latitudes. So the weather's going to be very similar. And I just look at them and I can see they've come in fresh off the street. Even that recent little video she's put up where she's getting Soho House to let us put a table up with a few jams. Oh my God. Oh, and I've checked Netflix. You might have seen my community post. I checked Netflix online store. There's no search, no results for Meghan Markle as ever. They're not. So if they were going to sell her products in a shop, right, why couldn't they first sell them on their online store? Do you see what I mean? They don't want a bar of her. And she's got her holiday special coming up. You'd think they would have. And it's been Black Friday. You'd think they would have some of Markle's products, but no. Basically, Netflix told her, we don't want to stock your shit in our shops. We think it's too special. You need to rent your own shops. Well, as a lot of you know, it's a heavy overhead renting a shop. So she's got a mate with a bookstore, and she's got some deal with Soho House. And even if she sold 10 jars of jam a day, how's that gonna, you know? And the person who owns the shop, they're surely going to be saying to her, you've got to pay some rent, business rates, electricity, you know, towards the cost. But I doubt she is, you know, she's just doing it as a favour. So there's those two things. And in that little video, although she had a sleeveless top on, there's one shot of her, she's got a long camel coat and she's wearing long trousers. That's because it's a bit nippy in California. I mean, anyone in California, in that area, can you tell me, is it really, really hot there? And if you've lived there a while, do you wear a nice winter coat? Or do you, I mean, even in her own Netflix As Ever program, the last one I watched, she had a picnic on the beach with somebody and they took some deck chairs. They were wrapped up warm, toasty. They weren't in sleeveless. So, I mean, I just feel that she's put that picture out of the, let's call it Meals on Wheels, because I can't remember the name. This food production place. I think she's put a picture out there, which includes Harry, because he's nowhere near her. And she's sick of people saying, oh, they're going to split up, oh, he's left her, oh, there's a divorce. That's what I think. And I mean, call me a suspicious and a conspiracy theorist. She just lies so much. I basically don't believe anything she puts out. Nothing at all. And I'm glad I've been spending time on my porthole. My porthole's far more interesting than she is. It's, oh my God. I'm so glad I can't believe I got the whole thing out. And then I figured out how to take the bolts off and everything. And it'll look really smart. And as I say, most importantly, I won't have a draft coming up my jacksie, because that porthole's down in the galley, so it's much lower. And I sit higher watching TV. And if I've got a dressing gown on, the draft comes right up my dressing gown. So there'll be no more of that nonsense, that's for sure. Oh, it's Friday, wonderful evening. I'm off to Jib in a minute. I'm going to go get some vino because it's been a hell of a week. And I'll see you at some point over the weekend. I might do a live, and then we can all talk, because I love that. I love that when I can see what you guys want to say and want to talk about, and we shall have lots of fun. But not tonight. Tonight I've had enough. I'm going to look for a decent movie to watch on the telly, and just crash and burn. And especially, I wish I could tell you what it was that me and Ben nearly blew up this week, but I can't. I can't because unfortunately there are some people on the internet who can't behave themselves. The majority of you guys, you're lovely. I could tell you everything. But I do feel restricted these days because of the occasional obsessed human being, like a super fan or I don't even like to call them trolls. I mean, even my critics, I don't really, you know, like there are various channels that critique me. I don't care so much about them, but that's not what I'm talking about. You get the odd person who's just like, oh, I've got to know everything about all of your life. And what Benji and I were dealing with is something that's been in the family for a very long time now. Anyway, I will tell you about it. I'll tell you about it in a couple of weeks when all is completely resolved. In the meantime, have a fabulous weekend, and may your God be with you.